Yo, what's going on, fam? It's your boy Paul, back with another episode of Ball Talk with Paul. So sorry about the delay from last week, guys. I had a lot going on. I just recently moved from the DMV area all the way down south to Sweet Home, Alabama. So I will be on Central Time from here on out, guys. I know you guys on the Eastern Time are an hour in front of me, but hopefully you guys still rock with me because I'm still going to be bringing that heat and everything you want to see on Ball Talk. So for this week on Ball Talk, we're going to be talking Week 1 college football matchups, the big heavy hitters. Then we're also going to be talking about Heisman candidates, who I think will win the Heisman. Then moving on to the NFL, we're going to be talking about divisions from top to bottom. Also, we're going to be talking about the MVP candidates who I think will win, and also every other major NFL award. So let's not waste any more time, guys, and let's get right into it. College football is officially back. And I know if you guys are anything like me, you have been dying to see these matchups. So let's get right into them. Starting off with Ohio State versus Texas. Ohio State versus Texas is going to be a matchup filled with firepower on both sides of the ball. Now, Texas is ranked number 1 overall, led by Archie Manning and Ryan Wingo, and they have plenty of talent on both sides of the ball. I think they are ranked number 1 for a reason. Now, Ohio State is ranked number 2 in the nation after coming off a national championship last year, but they have a little bit of changes. They have a new quarterback in Ryan Cheyenne. We don't know what he can do quite yet under pressure, but I'm sure we will find out. Now, they also have the wide receiver phenom, Jeremiah Smith, coming off of an incredible freshman season, and he looks to back that up as well. Also, on the defensive side of the ball, Ohio State has a guy, Caleb Downs, man, safety. He could just flat out get to it. He's a machine everywhere on the field. So it's going to be an interesting matchup, but I do think Texas gets the edge here because they just have a little bit more firepower, and also they have a little bit more experience. Ohio State lost a couple of guys that really impacted them last year. So I don't think they're going to be the same, but I do like Ohio State to probably win the Big 12 once again because they are just that type of team. So we shall see with this matchup, but I do expect Texas to win. Probably say this will be a 28-21 victory. It's not going to be too high scoring because of these defenses are just too loaded. But yeah, look for Archie Manning this year because he is a man and we all know what that last name carries. So hopefully he can live up to that legacy. Now let's talk Miami versus Notre Dame. As you can see, I'm all about the U, baby. So you know I'm rocking with my Hurricanes. Now, we just got a new quarterback, Mr. Carson Beck from the University of Georgia. He is a quarterback that has some potential, but he has some things to work on. But I do believe with the weapons that we have, such as Ray Joseph and Mark Fletcher Jr., he will benefit from working with those guys and take us to where we need to be. Because last year we fell short, even with the best quarterback in the nation, Cam Ward. So hopefully we can get over that hump. And also we got some guys on the defense end, Ruben Bain Jr., Wesley, Basante. Those guys could just flat out get to it, man. So I hope, our defense takes a next step. Also, we got a new defensive coordinator because we desperately needed one because last year we were just giving up too many unnecessary points, man. So hopefully we can take that and run with that as well. And also for Notre Dame, they have some guys that I like. Jeremiah Love, he is a running back that you got to have, right? He is a powerful back. He can run you over, juke you, outrun you, all that. And I think he will be one of the best in the nation for sure. But we'll see. I think Notre Dame lost a few pieces last year because they made that run to the national championship, but they will still be lower. Their coach is just a guy that knows how to recruit. He knows how to pour into his talent. So we'll see what they do. But I do have my Hurricanes winning because we definitely also will be in Hard Rock. So that will be a good game to see. But I got the Hurricanes coming out on top. Now let's talk the battle of the Death Valleys, man. We got the LSU Tigers versus the Clemson Tigers. Now for me, I have to go with Clemson, man, because I just think they have the better team overall. They have the better coaching staff as well. Dabo Swinney is by far a better coach than Brian Kelly, who is known to be a choker. So I think the Clemson Tigers get it done in their Death Valley. Cade Klubnik is one of the most prolific quarterbacks in the nation right now. He can run, he can throw, he can make the easy reads. And also, they have a wide receiver, Mr. Antonio Williams. That guy could just flat out fly and go get the ball wherever you put it. I think he's going to be one of the top receivers in the nation as well this year. But LSU also has some weapons. They have Greg Newsomer, their quarterback. He's also a great pocket pass quarterback. Now, he can get rattled kind of easily, but I think their offense is good as well. But I just don't trust Brian Kelly, man. If you're an Eagles fan, you know you can never trust a Kelly. So with that being said, I'm taking the Clemson Tigers, man. I'll probably say the score would be 35-28 in a high scoring matchup because both offenses are prolific. So we shall see. Now, the last matchup that I think could be interesting on Saturday, we have Virginia Tech versus South Carolina. Now, the South Carolina Gamecocks made an impressive run last year with their new quarterback, Lenore Sellers. Lenore is a quarterback that can pretty much do it all for you. He can run, he can throw, and he can make plays happen when everything is going wrong. So that's the type of quarterback you want. I think Lenore is going to take a next step this year, definitely becoming a Heisman candidate. And along with him, I have Nick Harbert also taking a big step this year. This guy's 6'5", 230. To run a 4.3, 4. He should be one of those guys, man, that should just be able to go and get it anywhere you throw it. So as long as they get that connection going, I think there'll be a dynamic duo in this league. Now, Virginia Tech, they do have a decent quarterback. Cameron Drones, he's not bad. He took my Hurricanes to the wire last year. I do like what Virginia Tech is doing, but I just don't think they have enough firepower to stick with South Carolina, man. Carolina has a defensive sound game now. Their coach has gotten them buying into that system. And I like what they're doing. So we should see about Carolina Gamecocks, man. Keep on the lookout for them in the SEC this year. Now let's talk Heisman watch for 2025 college football season. I have a lot of these guys who could just flat out dominate. It doesn't matter where they are or who they're going against. They're going to ball, man. And that's what you want out of a Heisman. So my first candidate, I'm going with Mr. Jeremiah Smith from Ohio State. He just balled out last year, and as a freshman at that. And I think he will follow up last season with the even better season this year. As long as his quarterback can find him and get him the ball, he's going to be dynamic and prolific. He can run after the catch. He can go get it over the top. Can run any route on the route tree. He's definitely going to be the first wide receiver taken off the board next year, man. So be on the lookout for him. Hopefully, he can get the touches he needs to be in the Heisman discussion. Next candidate I have is Mr. Lenore Sellers from South Carolina. Also, one of the best dual threat quarterbacks in the nation right now, man. He can run you over. He can juke you, spin, anything you need. And he has a big, powerful arm. He can throw it downfield, short field, wherever you need it. So I think he will be in the Heisman discussion as well. As long as he stays consistent, wins ball games, he can be there because he's going to be a quarterback that a lot of teams wish they had, and a lot of teams are going to be looking at in the draft next year. So stay on the lookout for the Lenore Sellers. My third candidate I have for the Heisman is Mr. Jeremiah Love from Notre Dame, the running back. I think Jeremiah is just one of a kind when it comes to running backs. He can do it all. I've seen him run guys over. I've seen him outrun guys, juke guys. Any type of move he wants, he has it. And he's a 3-down back, what you want out of a running back coming on your backfield. So I think as long as he gets the touches, his offensive line helps him out, he's going to be one of those guys, man, that is hard to bring down. And if Notre Dame keeps winning how they did last year, he will definitely be in the conversation. So Mr. Jeremiah Love, please be on the lookout for him as well. Last but certainly not least, we have Mr. Archie Manning, quarterback from Texas. He has the name, he has the spotlight, but can he live up to the hype? I think so, man. Arch has showed me a lot of composure, even though he didn't play much last year. But in the games he did, he looked like he was ready. He can run when necessary. He can throw downfield, hit the short reads as well. I think Arch is just a well-rounded quarterback, and hopefully he can live up to that last name, which I believe he will. So be on the lookout for Arch Manning as well. So those are the top 5 candidates I have for the Heisman race. But please, let me know if you think I missed anybody in the comments. Could I add anybody or could I drop anybody? Just let me know. All right, guys, so that's enough college talk for now. Let's get into the NFL and talk division winners. We're going to be breaking down each individual division and rank from top to bottom who will be the winner and who will be the loser. So let's get into it. First, we're going to be talking about the NFC East. Now, at the bottom of the NFC East, I have the New York Giants. Now, the New York Giants, they do have a lot of firepower on that defensive front. Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, but they don't have much else. And also, they have a few question marks on the offensive side of the ball, like if Russell Wilson will be able to get them over the hump, or if Malik Neighbors can be that solid number 1 wide receiver, and also who else will be that wide receiver 2, and how would that backfield look? So the Giants, they're still young and up and coming, but I do think they're headed in the right direction. At number 3, I have the Washington Commanders. Yes, I have the Commanders taking a step back this year. Now that Jaden Daniels has had a whole year under his belt, I think NFL teams will adjust to his playing style even better. And also, with Terry McLaurin's situation and their lack of offseason reps, I think that would definitely hurt them in the long run because they will not be up to speed like they were last year. Also, the Commanders don't really have a solid wide receiver, too. Deebo Samuel has not had a season over 1,000 yards in about 3-4 years. So that's going to be an issue for them as well. Also, they don't have a running game that much. Austin Eckler is old. He doesn't really do much. And their rookie, Bill Drakowski, I don't know if he's the answer to the future. And also, the Commanders have one of the oldest teams in the league. You can't win in this league with old guys. You need youth. And they don't have much of that. They did sign a few free agents, Javon Kinlaw and a few others, but I don't think that'll help them get over that hump. So we'll see about the Commanders, but yes, I have them at number 3 right now. At number 2, unfortunately, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Yes, I think the Cowboys have one of the better offenses in this division with CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, now, and George Pickens. I think they will be able to hang with pretty much anybody they want to. Now, they still do have questions on the defensive side of the ball. Micah Parsons is still not signed to a new contract and has threatened to sit out games. But we will see if they come to an agreement before the season begins. I hope so because I don't want any excuses from the Cowgirl fans this year. Hopefully, Jerry Jones wises up and pays that man. But I do have Dallas at number 2 because I think they are just the better roster than the Commanders and the Giants for sure. Now, of course, at number 1, I have those Philadelphia Eagles winning back-to-back in the division. Yes, we haven't had a back-to-back division winner in over 20 years, but I think the Eagles have the roster to do that. We brought back 10 out of 11 offensive starters last year. Now, defense, we did lose a couple of pieces, but we didn't lose anything that we couldn't replace. I think the guys that we have to replace the guys that we lost are just as young and hungry as those other guys we lost. And not to mention all this Jalen Hurts disrespect going on. I think my guy Jalen is just going to excel and take some more leaps because I think he's still hungry and he was not even satisfied after the Super Bowl when he hasn't even put on the ring. So I think my guys are still hungry, still ready, and we're going to lock up the division and hopefully make another run at this Super Bowl. All right, moving on to the NFC South. So at the bottom of the NFC South, I have the New Orleans Saints. Unfortunately, the Saints just have too much going on right now to play any competitive football. They don't know who their franchise quarterback is going to be because Derek Carr suddenly retired with a shoulder injury, so they have to have Spencer Rattler fill in. Not sure how he's going to do, but hopefully it won't be too bad. They don't really have much wide receiver firepower. Chris Olave stays hurt. I'm not really a big fan of his. Alvin Kamara is getting up there in age, and I don't think he can carry the load like he used to. Also, on the defensive end, they lost a lot of guys. Tyrann Mathieu retired. A couple other guys left in free agency. Only real veteran they have is Cam Jordan. And he's not really a guy that's going to get you anywhere. So I think the Saints will be at the bottom of the NFC South this year. So at number 3, I have the Carolina Panthers. Now, the Carolina Panthers, they do look better than last year. They made some major improvements on the offensive line, got some wide receiver help for Bryce Young. But I still think they're just a middle-of-the-pack team. They haven't had many players that have stood out. Not on the defensive side. They do have Derrick Brown, defensive lineman. But they still have a J.C. Horn as their cornerback, but they still have a lot of question marks in a lot of places. So I don't think they'll make a huge jump this year, but it could be a sneaky good team. So we'll see. Now, at number 2 in the NFC South, I have those Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, I know they have a wide receiver room that is fully loaded with Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, and a young rookie in Mecca, but I don't think Mike Evans and Chris Godwin will be as effective this year, especially with Godwin coming off that ankle injury and also Mike Evans slowing up in age. I just don't think they'll be the same as they were last year. Also, they do have a good running back in Bucky Irvin. He's going to have another breakout season, I believe, because he's just a dynamic back that can catch, run, do whatever you want out of the backfield. But I just don't think that's enough to win the division this year. And also on the defense end, they do have a great defensive-minded coach with Todd Bowles, but they can never stop anybody when they need a stop. That's always their biggest question mark. So we will see if Tampa can make those stops and make those adjustments, but I have them at number 2. So for the number 1 spot in the NFC South, I have those Atlanta Falcons. Michael Penix Jr., I saw a lot of great things from him in the short span of last year. Now, if they started him before Kirk Cousins, I think they would have actually made the playoffs last year. So hopefully they would take that jump because he has all the weapons he needs. Not to mention he has one of the best weapons in the backfield, Bijan Robinson, who I think will have a great season this year because of Michael Penix. So we shall see if they can put it all together. And also they made some great moves on the defensive end. I like the rookie they drafted, James Pierce Jr. out of Tennessee. He's going to be a problem. And they also have one of the best secondaries in the backfield led by A.J. Terrell. So hopefully those Falcons, they can lock in and do what they're supposed to do to win the division. All right, so moving on to the NFC North. At number 4, I have the Minnesota Vikings. Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, my goodness, the Vikings roster is loaded. Yes, their roster is loaded, but their quarterback is still a rookie, essentially. I know he got hurt last year towards meniscus, so he couldn't play. But I don't know what J.J. McCarthy is going to bring. Yes, he has Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and Aaron Jones in the backfield, but you have to be able to get those weapons the ball. And if you can't do that, your offense will be stagnant. Now, they do have a solid defense. I do like the addition they had on the defense line with Jonathan Allen, but they still have to prove that they can beat the teams that are at the top of the food chain. So we will see what the Minnesota Vikings do, but for now, I have them at 4. At number 3, I have those Detroit Lions. Yes, I have the Lions taking a huge step back this year because they lost 8 position coaches in the offseason. And if you followed the Eagles in the 2023 season, when we lost both of our coordinators, we had a terrible downslide because we lost the continuity of the team. When you lose coordinators, it's hard to keep the guys bought in because they're not sure if the system works. And I just don't know if Detroit will be able to do the same. Now, they still do have a lot of firepower everywhere with Amon St. Brown, Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery, Jameson Williams. But I'm not a huge believer in Jared Goff, man. I think once he gets rattled and you get him off his spot, he's not really a quarterback that you can trust. That's why the Rams shipped him off. So we'll see what Detroit does. They do have some defensive firepower as well. Aiden Hutchinson, he got hurt last year. Hopefully he can stay healthy this year and make up for last year. But we will see because they still have a lot of work to do. And I don't think they'll be able to make up for all the losses that they took. Now, number 2 in the NFC North, I have those Chicago Bears. Yes, I know what you're going to say. Caleb Williams hasn't proved anything yet. No, he hasn't. But I think with a new head coach, Ben Johnson, who is known for catering to his players, he will figure it out with him. And he has all the weapons he needs around him, such as DJ Moore, DeAndre Swift, and a couple of other guys that can just flat out do what you need them to do. Now, they do have a few offensive line questions because they still are struggling in that department, but I think they will be able to overcome it with offensive scheme. And not to mention, their defense is one of the best in the league when they have an offense that can complement them. So as long as the Bears could put up points on offense, I think the defense can take care of business. My winner for the NFC North is the Green Bay Packers. This is Jordan Love's make it or break it year. He has to prove that he is the franchise guy for the Packers because they have had too many ups and downs in the last couple of years with him, and he needs to prove that he can make this next step. Now, I do like their offense because they have a workhorse with Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Then they have a nice young wide receiver core, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, and also just added Matthew Golden from Texas. So I think there will be a prolific offense. And also they have weapons everywhere on the defense. Xavier McKinney, Quay Walker. They have guys that can go get the ball. So as long as they do what they need to do, they should win this division. I don't know if they will do anything in the playoffs, but the division will definitely be a lock as long as they play like they're supposed to play. Moving on to the NFC West. At number 4, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, the Seattle Seahawks will not be that great this year. I just don't see it. Mr. Sam Darnold came over from the Minnesota Vikings, but he did not bring Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison with him. His receivers now are only Cooper Kupp and Jackson Smith-Njigba, which is not the best wide receiving core that you can build, right? They have a lot of question marks there. They still do have Kenneth Walker. He's a nice power back who can get some things done for you, but that's not going to be enough. And defense, they do have a solid defense, but you can't win games with only defense. You have to have an offense. And I'm not sure if Sam Darnold is that guy, because we all know once you get Sam Darnold seeing those ghosts, he will definitely start throwing picks and incompletions everywhere. So I have the Seattle Seahawks at number 4 for that reason. At number 3, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, the 49ers also have a lot of question marks that they need to answer. Like, is Brock Purdy going to be the franchise leading quarterback? I'm still not sure, because he has not proven that he can win without a lot of weapons around him. Also, can Christian McCaffrey stay healthy? We know they like to use Christian in a lot of situations, but that also leads to a lot of injuries because he will have a lot of wear and tear. So can he stay healthy? I know they just got Brian Robinson Jr., but that's not really a back that you can rely on either. Also, who will be the number 1 receiver until Brandon Ayuk comes back? And when Brandon Ayuk comes back, will he be that same guy? We just don't know. Now, their defense will always be competitive, especially when he have Robert Saleh as their defensive coordinator and led by Fred Warner. But they lost a lot of pieces too. They lost Huafunga to the Broncos, Dre Greenlaw to the Broncos, and those guys were some impact players. So we shall see what the 49ers do, but I don't have them having high hopes this year. My number 2 in the NFC West might shock you, but I have the Arizona Cardinals. Now, yes, we have a lot of question marks about Kyler Murray. Can he be the franchise guy? Can he lead this team anywhere? But I think he will take a step in the right direction this year. Marvin Harrison Jr. looks like he's ready to take on that load as number 1 receiver. And they also have a workhorse in James Conner, and their tight end Trey McBride is one of the top tight ends in this league. He just has to get in the end zone more. So as long as they can do that, they will be competitive. And they have some solid pieces on the defense. They still have Budda Baker. They just signed Josh Sweat from my Eagles. And their rookie cornerback, Will Johnson, is looking like he's going to be a stud in this league. He should never have fallen to second round. I don't know how he did, but I'm sure he would be ready to prove why he should have been a first-round pick. So be on the lookout for those Arizona Cardinals as well. So for my number 1 pick, that only leaves the Los Angeles Rams. I think the Rams are just the best team in this division, man. They have everything you need on offense. They just added Devontae Adams, and they had Kyron Williams and Puka Nacua. So they're only going to get better. As long as Matt Stafford can stay healthy. I heard he's battling a back injury, but I'm sure he will be fine once the season starts and he gets rolling. And also, they just have a young and hungry defense led by Jared Verse and Brandon Fish. They just have some guys that can ball hunt and go get it. So I think the Rams will definitely win this division, and I'm sure that makes some noise in the playoffs. Hopefully, my Eagles can see them in the NFC Championship. I would not be mad at that. All right, so moving on to the AFC. We're going to start with the AFC North. At the bottom of the AFC North, I have those Cleveland Browns. Unfortunately, Cleveland just cannot figure it out at their quarterback position. Yes, they're going to be starting Mr. Joe Flacco this year, but we all know Joe would not take you too far. Now they only have Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders behind him. I don't think either one of those guys will take them anywhere. Also, they don't have much firepower at the wide receiver position. Jerry Jeudy is their best receiver, which is typically not good if you want to go anywhere. And the running back position is also a question mark. Now, they did pick up Quinshon Judkins from Ohio State. He can be a prolific back, but I just don't see them doing much this year. And I feel bad for the 2-time defensive player of the year, Myles Garrett, because he definitely deserves better. Now, Cleveland defense will be solid as always. They will be tough to, beat, but their offense just never helps them out. So I have Cleveland at the bottom once again. At number 3 in the AFC North, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, I know the Bengals have a 3 to 4-headed monster with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Chase Brown. But that's all they have, guys. Their offensive line did not get better. They really don't have much depth if anybody gets hurt. And they just paid Trey Hendrickson, but they tied up all their money into 4 guys, which is Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, and Hendrickson. So I don't think they'll be able to really make any noise this year, especially with that defense being under subpar. You can't outshoot everybody. Joe Burrow's a phenomenal talent, but he has to get some help on the defensive side of the ball. So, yes, I have the Bengals at number 3 and probably missing the playoffs once again. At number 2 in the North, I have those Pittsburgh Steelers. As we all know, under Mike Tomlin, those Steelers are going to always be competitive. They're going to give you all they got because everybody loves Mike Tomlin. And to be fair, Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback Mike Tomlin has had to work with since Big Ben. So I think they will be enough to get them to the playoffs, along with DK Metcalf. Now, they don't really have a solid wide receiver 2 yet, but I think they're going to be running a lot of 2 tight end sets with Pat Freiermuth and John Smith because both of those guys can catch the ball well and run after the catch. So we'll see how the Pittsburgh Steelers approach that. And also on the defensive side of the ball, they're just loaded. They just picked up Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. And they also have TJ Watt, a former defensive player of the year. Once they get Cam Hayward's contract situation out, I'm sure he'll be back. Patrick McQueen, Joey Porter Jr. So the Steelers defense is loaded, man. You can never count the Steelers out as long as they have a solid defense. So yes, I have them at number 2 and making the playoffs. At number 1 in the AFC North, of course, I have those Baltimore Ravens, led by 2-time MVP Lamar Jackson. Now this year, it's no excuse for the Ravens because the Ravens have everything you need to win a championship. You got Derrick Henry in the backfield. You got Zay Flowers, DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, a stout offensive lineman. On the defensive side, you have Roquan Smith, Jair Alexander, Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphreys. You have everything you need. So there's no excuse for the Ravens not to at least be in the AFC Championship this year. It has to be done. If it doesn't happen, somebody's either getting fired or somebody's getting traded because they have everything you need. So no excuse for the Ravens this year, man. It's either AFC Championship or bust. All right, moving on to the AFC South. At number 4, I have those Indianapolis Colts. Now, it's hard to win ball games in this league when you're not too sure about your quarterback position. And Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson are 2 of the most questionable quarterbacks anybody can have on their roster. And I'm just not a believer in any one of those guys. And I do feel bad for Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Josh Downs, guys like that, because they have talent, but they can't showcase it because of the quarterback play. And I don't think they'll be able to this year either. I don't believe in their defense or their offense. Neither one is playing confident football. So we'll see what the Colts do. I just have them last, unfortunately, this year. At number 3 in the AFC South, I have those Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, it's a make it or break it year for Mr. Trevor Lawrence because he has all the potential in the world, but has not done much with it. And they need to see if he can actually take this team anywhere. And I'm not a firm believer that he can because he has had the weapons around him. You even had your college running back with you, and you still can't do much. Speaking of his running back, Travis Etienne, he's not looking like he's that guy anymore. Tank Bigsby is looking like he's going to overtake that RB1 position before the end of the year. Now, they do have some good receivers in Brian Thomas Jr. from LSU and Travis Hunter, who they just drafted. But I'm not sure if Trevor Lawrence is that guy because he's a guy that always makes interceptions when you don't need them. And that's not what you want out of a franchise quarterback. Now, the defense has a few question marks as well. They still do have a solid D-line. Linebacking core is not that best, and also the secondary. But yeah, I don't have the Jacksonville Jaguars doing much, and I have them number 3. At number 2 in the AFC South, I have the Tennessee Titans. Now, if you follow the Titans last year, they were in a lot of close ball games and could have won those ball games if they had a solid quarterback, which we all know they did not. Cam Ward is not Will Levis. He will be able to overcome what Will Levis couldn't last year and hopefully get the Titans a couple more wins. I do think they have the weapons such as Calvin Ridley, Tony Pollard, and their tight end. They can do it with Cam. They just need somebody to get them the ball. Now, defense, they are stout as well with Jeffrey Simmons and L'Jarius Sneed holding down the fort as the anchors. They just need somebody who can give them some help on the offensive side of the ball. And with Cam Ward, I think the sky's the limit. So we'll see about those Tennessee Titans, but I have them number 2. So number 3 in the AFC East, I have those Miami Dolphins. Now, this is a make it or break it year for both Mike McDaniel and Tua, I believe, because both of them together have not done much in the league, and they need to make some changes if it does not work out this year. Now they still do have Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and a couple other guys, but Tyreek Hill has shown his frustration the last few years, so he has to get back to being that explosive, fast Tyreek that we're used to. And Mr. Waddle has to stay healthy because he has been injury prone the last few years. And also on that defense, they have a few question marks. They lost Jalen Ramsey, but got Minkah Fitzpatrick back. But I don't think that'll be enough for them to continue to be competitive. So I got those Dolphins back at number 3. At number 2, I have those New England Patriots. Might be a big shocker here the most, but I think the Patriots are headed in the right direction under Mike Vrabel. Drake May showed a lot of promise last year in a lot of ball games, and as long as he gets some weapons, he will be fine. They did add Stephon Diggs. They got Trayvon Henderson from Ohio State. So I think with the addition of those guys, they will be better than they were last year. Their defense is looking more stout. They added my boy Milton Williams. Then they got Christian Gonzalez back from injury this year. So we should see what the New England Patriots look like. I think under Mike Vrabel, they will be headed in the right direction for sure, especially because he's coming from that Belichick era. Of course, at number 1, I have those reigning AFC East champions, Buffalo Bills. Mr. reigning MVP Josh Allen, I believe he'll still be at the top of his game next year. They just re-signed James Cook. They got a couple more weapons for him on the defensive side of the ball with Joey Bosa. So we'll see what they can do. And if they can get over the hump in the AFC Championship, because we all know they haven't beat Mahomes yet. But I like them to easily win this division once again. All right, for the AFC West, at number 4, I have those Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I do like what the Las Vegas Raiders are doing. They just got Geno Smith. I like a veteran quarterback to help the new young core out with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty. But I still think they have a lot of question marks in a lot of areas, like who's going to be their number 1 receiver, how does their offensive line hold up, things of that nature. Also on the defensive side, they don't really have a lot of guys that stand out. But I think under Pete Carroll, they will figure it out because he knows how to win football games and he knows how to build a roster. So be on the lookout for the Raiders in the next couple of years, but for now, they're still at 4. At number 3, I have the Los Angeles Chargers. I believe the Chargers are one of the most overhyped teams in this league, man. Justin Herbert has not proven that he can be more than a regular season merchant. He has no playoff success, and whenever things get tough, he folds, and that's just not the type of quarterback I like. Now, they did get Omari Hampton from North Carolina. I think he's going to be a big bruiser back. Also, Najee Harris. They probably have a 2-back system there. The wide receivers, they do have some solid ones. Lad McConkey is solid. They did re-sign Keenan Allen, so he'll be a nice veteran presence. But I don't think that's enough. And also on the defensive side of the ball, they have some big names on defense, such as Derwin James and Khalil Mack. But those guys can never get stops when they actually need them. You have to be able to get stops when you need it the most. And I don't think the Chargers are able to do that. So we'll see how their season goes. But for now, I have them at number 3. At number 2 in the AFC West, I have the Denver Broncos. I think the Denver Broncos are headed in the right direction, especially under Bo Nix. They have looked way better than they have in the last previous years. I believe as long as they continue to put talent around him, such as J.K. Dobbins, Portland Sutton, Ingram, they will be headed in the right direction. And also on the defense side of the ball, they are loaded. They have Tua Huafunga now, then they have Drake Greenlaw, and they have some guys that came back from last year, Zach Allen. And then I can't forget to mention Patrick Surtain, the reigning defensive player of the year. So I like what the Denver Broncos are doing under Sean Payton. I believe they're headed in the right direction. Hopefully, they can overcome those Chiefs this year, but I don't think so. Maybe another year or 2. But for now, I have the Broncos at number 2. And of course, at number 1 in AFC West, I have those Kansas City Chiefs once again. That combination of Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes is just hard to beat. They have won the AFC West the last 8 or 9 years in a row. And I don't think anything is changing anytime soon. As long as their weapons come back healthy, Rashee Rice, Hollywood Brown, Zay Worthy, and Pacheco, they'll be fine. Travis Kelce is on his last leg, so I'm sure they're going to be wanting to get him to another Super Bowl before it's all said and done. Also, they have defensive firepower still on the defensive end. Chris Jones Jr., Trent McDuffie, and they still have one of the best defensive coordinators with Spagnuolo. So I'm sure they'll repeat this division. It might not be as easy this time, but they still will be atop of the AFC West. So that is my predictions for each division, top to bottom. Let me know in the comments if you guys think I messed up anywhere or could have replaced this team with that team. Just let me know. All right, guys. So let's move on to the NFL awards predictions. First award we're going to start off with is the MVP. Who will be the most valuable player in the league this year? My top 5 guys that I think will be in the discussion is, of course, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jaden Daniels, and last but certainly not least, Mr. Jalen Hurts. I think these guys are pretty self-explanatory. All of them are very dynamic, can do a lot of things for their team, whether it's run, pass, find ways to win. It doesn't matter. These guys do it all. But my personal opinion on who I think will win the MVP this year is that boy Jalen Hurts, man. I think my guy is destined to win him at least one MVP before it's all said and done. And I think this year he's feeling more disrespected than ever because guys are still not trying to mention him in the top 5 conversation. Like he hasn't been to 2 Super Bowls when most quarterbacks haven't even been to 1. So I think Jalen Hurts will put his mark on the league this year and let people know that he is him and he is here to stay. The next award I want to talk about is the Offensive Player of the Year. These guys, when called upon, can do whatever they are asked of from their team. They are dynamic, can make explosive plays at any time. Just flat out ballers, man. So my top 5 candidates for the Offensive Player of the Year, I have Mr. Jamar Chase, Amir Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley. And my prediction for the winner of this award is Mr. Bijan Robinson. I believe Bijan can be one of the most dynamic backs in this league, right along with Mr. Saquon Barkley. And Mr. Saquon even said himself he thinks that Bijan is a better runner and cutter than him. Bijan can catch out the backfield. He can run away from defenders. He can juke defenders. He can run you over. He can do it all, man. And I think with Michael Penix in the backfield, he'll just have more success this year. So be on the lookout for Bijan Robinson to win the Offensive Player of the Year. Now let's talk the Defensive Player of the Year, man. These guys just get to the ball no matter who's in their way and are just dominant at their positions. My top 5 candidates for DPOY, I have Mr. Myles Garrett, Zach Bond, Fred Warner, Derek Stingley Jr., and Micah Parsons. Now, my prediction who will win this award this year is Mr. Zach Bond. As you know, Zach was second in Defensive Player of the Year voting last year, but I think he would take another step up this year because he was just getting acclimated last year at his new position, and now that he understands Vic Fangio's defense even better, and not to mention he has Mr. Jahad Campbell playing beside him at the beginning of the season, he would just have more lanes to fly through and more balls to catch because he is just a great inside backer, man. He can do it all. So be on the lookout for Zach Bond to win his first DPOY this year. All right, let's move to the Rookie Awards. So for the Offensive Rookie of the Year, I have 5 guys that I'm sure will be heavily involved in their offense because of their dynamic talent. We have Mr. Ashton Jeanty, Trayvon Henderson, Cam Ward, Omarion Hampton, and Tyler Warren. Now, my prediction for who will win this award is Mr. Cam Ward, man, because we all know at the quarterback position, you have the ability to make the most impact on your team. And I think Cam is ready to do that. He has every weapon he needs to win games, and he has the arm to do it. So I believe Cam Ward will be the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, let's move to the defensive side of the ball. For my Defensive Rookie of the Year, I have 5 guys that I know will also make huge impacts on the defensive end. First, we have Mr. Trey Amos, Will Johnson, Jahad Campbell, Abdul Carter, and Mr. Travis Hunter. Now, my prediction for who will actually win this award is Mr. Abdul Carter, man. I just think he'll be a menace on that defensive end position with the New York Giants. I believe him learning from Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau, he'll have all the tools he needs to get to the quarterback because he already has the intangibles. So he just needs to sharpen up his tools, and he will be there. So be on the lookout for Mr. Abdul Carter to win Defensive Player of the Year. So that's my full list of candidates and winners, guys. Let me know in the comments if you think I missed somebody or I could have replaced anybody. And let me know who your top 5 candidates are for each position.